This is the series which follows the RSPCA's Inspectors and Special Operations Unit in the fight to protect animals in England and Wales. Coming up in Emergency Animal Rescue, the RSPCA and police join forces to investigate a case of suspected horse neglect and find much more.
We are.
A Welsh fire crew are enlisted to rescue a kitten teetering on the edge.
He's hanging on for dear life. Hopefully we won't frighten him.
And in Birmingham, an owl's life hangs in the balance.
I'm hoping it hasn't broken a wing, because that would be a disaster for a bird of prey or any bird.
In Surrey, RSPCA Inspector Paul Adams is attending a briefing on a raid involving a number of maltreated horses.
This place has got a number of horses that have been badly, we think, mistreated and certainly underweight, and information in the last 24 hours is that one has died and has potentially been buried.
The World Horse Welfare Charity has identified multiple locations where they believe up to 20 horses are in poor condition.
Obviously, you know,
it could potentially be a volatile situation.
But the allegation here is that they're just receiving care that's just extremely substandard. We've adopted a multi-agency approach. We've got a number of different organisations with us, as well as the RSPCA. We have the police, obviously, veterinary surgeons, we have officers from World Horse Welfare.
The RSPCA and police are out in full force, and as Paul arrives, he's confronted by the owners of the property, and they aren't happy.
And we're here today, obviously, to search the premises for evidence of an offence.
Of what?
Okay?
Of what?
We believe that animals are being neglected or mistreated at these premises.
Why do we want all these police officers here for?
Because we're here to do our job, madam, that's why.
I beg your pardon? You're being rude to me. Get off my property then.
The owners don't want to let the RSPCA in, but with the police there in support and a warrant from the courts, they have no choice. RSPCA figures show that over the past 5 years, calls reporting incidents of horse abuse have gone up by 25%. And it doesn't take long for Paul and the local vet to find horses here in a shocking state.
We've got some 25 horses that are in varying conditions, some of them not acceptable. One individual that needs something done for him is totally blind, that doesn't look like he's been out of a stable for ages and is in very poor condition. And others that are unacceptably thin, mares that have got foals on them that should have been weaned. So a general picture of neglect and poor husbandry.
The inspectors have to check every one of the 25 horses here. In the paddock, Paul finds more evidence of dangerous living conditions for the horses.
This looks like the sort of stuff that surrounds bales of hay, so it may be just wrapping that's been badly discarded. I mean, it shouldn't be in the same field as horses, because horses, you know, they're grazing, they ingest that, and they can be in real problems, so it shouldn't be here. It's really bad management.
The premises obviously are not particularly suitable in that there's broken fencing with barbed wire loose, nails sticking out of planks on the ground. In other words, lots of hazards to horses.
In a far corner of the fields, the RSPCA find a caravan full of neglected cats and dogs, and Inspector Lynn Winters is horrified by what she's found.
It's disgusting. It smells. There's a lot of cats in there. There's definitely a dog. I hear a dog.
As Paul and Lynn explore inside the caravan, the owners become increasingly aggressive.
I know you haven't got a warrant to search caravan. Taking the
We do have a warrant to search the caravan.
not outhouses, not where people live.
Yes, we have.
The warrant covers the caravan. Can we get out now?
Paul finds a total of 18 cats and dogs, all living in atrocious conditions, trapped inside tiny cages and confined within walls smeared in their own excrement.
It looks like he's been living his own faeces for a long time. He's got faeces all over him. When was the last time you went to a vet?
It wasn't that long ago.
We've got kittens, and this must be Mum. As you can see, this kitten's eyes are so infected, it can't even open them. We've got another one here that can't open its eyes. It's all infected.
What does that mean? You're taking them?
Yeah. We can't leave these cats like this. We can't. Look at this cat here. Can't open its right eye.
She's been like that since she was born.
With the owners in denial, Lynn decides that the only course of action is to remove the animals.
I think the thing we need to do now is get some baskets, come back, gather them all up and sort them all out, get them to a vet.
As the team prepare to seize the animals, the owners become increasingly hostile and refuse to let the animals go.
Get out of my house! You ain't coming in here with them monkeys!
Can you let her explain?
Animals!
We are.
Why?
Because they can't stay in the...
They taking any of them!
Most of them have got with their eyes. Most of them have got problems with their fur. They're infected.
Because of the aggressive behaviour displayed by the owners, the RSPCA inspectors need to remove the cats and dogs as quickly as possible, for their own safety as well as the long-term welfare of the animals. The RSPCA and the animals get out of harm's way.
6 adults and 9 kittens.
And Paul has time to reflect on a tough job.
It's something that we come across with animal owners every single day. People just don't think that they're being cruel. And yet you see the reaction when they're going to be taken away. It's just almost overwhelming for the owner, despite the condition they're in. I'll never understand it.
In Barry, South Wales, Inspector Nicola Johnson is dealing with a very different call. This kitten is well cared for, but it's been stuck on a roof for 2 days without food or water.
He can go wherever he wants, and I actually think that if he could get himself down, he's just got himself into a bit of a mess.
The inquisitive kitten is obviously very good at climbing, but not so good at getting itself down. And if it's not rescued soon, it could be in real trouble.
He's only 3 months old. And he's black as well, and it's a boiling day. He's going to be dehydrated, nervous, scared, hungry as well. So I'm not, he doesn't look too good.
48 hours is enough now for something that size to be up there. If he was going to come down, I think he probably would have by now. He's a long way up, and I can't get up there. So fire brigade it is.
If their workload is light, the fire service will often respond to calls to help animals in distress, mainly to discourage members of the public from putting themselves at risk by performing their own rescue attempts.
This one, he looks like he's hanging on for dear life. Quite a young kitten, showing a little bit of sign of distress. A little bit nervous, so hopefully we won't frighten him down ourselves before we get there.
If we get him in here and wrap him up a bit, he'll be fine until he just comes down the ladder. He's looking. Oh, somebody's going to get you now.
As the fireman gets to the top of the ladder, the kitten is almost within reach, but it's touch and go whether he's going to jump.
Come on, then. He is waiting. He is waiting. Oh, Lord bless him.
What we're going to use now is a roof ladder to access the ridge on the roof. The cat's obviously keen to come down, but it's a little bit concerned at putting his feet one in front of the other. So we'll have to actually get to the cat. Rather than the cat come to us, we've got to go to the cat this time.
I love the fire brigade. Look at them doing their stuff. Like, without them, the RSPCA weren't getting that cat down from there.
With the young kitten returned safely to street level, the hero of the hour, fireman Ross Torrent, explains how it's all in a day's work for him and the team.
He was a very young cat, so he's very timid and, kind of quiet, so he did well. I didn't have to do much, just put him in the basket and put him down, Easy money for us.
I'm very happy the cat's down. The cat looks a bit shell-shocked, I have to say, but essentially he's bright alert, he doesn't seem to be injured in any way. Yeah. And he's got his owners back. And yeah, everybody's happy.
Oh, he seems okay. Oh, is that better, Milo?
Back in Surrey, Inspector Paul Adams has received information that the family suspected of horse neglect also keeps several horses in a field further down the road.
We're just now going to a second site. We're going to have a look at another quantity of horses, so we don't know what they're like at the moment.
At this new site, there are more horses which are extremely skinny and underweight. Some of their coats have been eaten away by mites, whilst others have pale gums, indicating